AM 590, KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Front Stretch, brought to you by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Online at joeskarting.com.
Well, this is the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Booking, prices, hours, they're all located online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. You can also give them a call at 712-256-5278. Good morning to everybody listening. We thank you for joining us. Bud, how are you doing?
I might actually be half asleep yet.
You survived the storm that was last night. I seem to have wanted to drive towards it as I was back home for a wedding, and the storm went right over the top of me, and it was a great, lovely experience.
Well, we actually had quite a bit of damage at my house. I mean, I think we lost like 3 leaves, 2 branches, and I think a dandelion got blown off the yard.
That is just, you're going to turn that in insurance, right?
Yeah,
Good.
I might actually have to get a hold of FEMA.
Well, we've got a great show lined up for you today. Intern 4, Andrew's going to join us. He's going to talk about some of the changes for the SLMR series they've had in the offseason, some of the big changes they've made. They've done a bunch of upgrading to their reward system. Is that the correct way of putting it?
Yeah, with their track sponsorship and their product sponsorship, the SLMR, with the growth that they've got, I mean, that is just an explosive series with what they're doing, and it's a cost-affordable series, and it's going to be really neat what Andrew's going to come out and preview for us today.
And then in turn 3, we're going to talk with Pat Warren, president of Kansas Speedway. Very exciting to talk to him. Nice guy, great guy. He's been working well with us all week long. They've got some changes coming in the offseason, or excuse me, not in the offseason, but in between the 2 races. Obviously, next Sunday, they're getting ready to head to Kansas. They're going to be heading to Kansas on Sunday for their STP 400, and then after that race is finished on Sunday, they're going to be making some changes, so we're going to talk to him about exactly what kind of changes are coming and how Kansas has been kind of weathering some of the economic storms.
Oh, absolutely, and
then in turn 2, we got the Fast 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. It's been a little while since we've been racing, so there is a little bit to talk about, not some big headlines, but stuff that is worthy to talk about. Before we get to all of that, Texas last night. I think the storm that flew over the top of me was a little bit more interesting than the actual race.
Well, and as much as I love NASCAR and dirt track racing and racing in general, honestly, in my opinion, last night's race at Texas was boring. There were some good things in it, but overall, now this is my personal opinion. When you're hearing every week that NASCAR is losing ratings to other shows and venues and whatnot, I got to thinking, if I'm falling asleep on the couch quite a bit through the race, and then you got 234 laps, the 234 final laps are run under green, there was nobody really getting sideways, there was not really a lot of drama. It's not exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think this is just one of the unfortunate aspects that NASCAR will run into every once in a while when the drivers are responsible, they're using their heads right, and they're just plain out racing. They're not being dumb, so there was no need for cautions. There was nothing that happened. I mean, everything went flawless, so it was good for me, on a sense, to kind of not see NASCAR throw a caution flag, because you always hear about those mysterious cautions that come out for debris in turn whatever.
Debris on field is what I was thinking.
Right.
The 2 nice things about last night, the save by Jimmy Johnson. He's going into turn 3, I believe. He's trying to make a Hail Mary run for Biff. He gets into turn 3, hits the right side of the car up on the fence. Great save right there. Biff, where in the world did that guy come from?
That guy had a whole lot of speed built up from 40-some-odd races that he hasn't won.
Well, yeah, after 40 races, I mean, you're feeling like a bridesmaid every week. I mean, there's a lot of pin-up aggression, and he took it out last night. And that one pass that he did on Johnson in the corner there, I mean, I've never seen Biff drive that hard, and that was really fun to see.
And he was one of the 2 Roush Fenway Racing cars that did not make the chase last year, so he was feeling a little bit of left out of the party, and I think he's definitely getting into the limelight this season. So a couple of drivers that had some good races. It was great to see Gordon finally finish a race and not get collected in some sort of an accident.
Well, he was talking last night. It's not that they've necessarily had bad luck, but they've always been either they've made their own luck or it was something that went wrong. But the one thing I really respected about Gordon was he talked about a lot of it was also self-induced. There was no excuses, no errors, and I thought that was really neat for a driver to come out.
So it was great to see him have a good finish. Casey Kane, again, another Hendrick driver that hasn't. I would say they've had bad luck. Him and Gordon, I think I disagree with you on that. They've both had bad luck because they've had great cars, and they just get collected incidences. And Kane and Gordon have both had that, and they both finish in the top 10. Gordon 4th, Kane 7th, and then Kyle Busch, someone who's been needing a good finish, someone that we kind of preseason thought was going to dominate the stories as he always does and have a great season, but he's kind of not really had a bad season, but just nothing worthy talking about. And he finally brings himself home an 11th place finish, so a good finish for him. And then there were some drivers that just as soon the race got over as fast as it did and they could start heading towards Kansas. Newman finished 21st, Stewart finished 24th. Stewart-Haas Racing just did not show up. I mean, they had bad cars. They could not get a handle on it.
Well, when Tony Stewart comes across airwaves and he's praying for an exorcism for his car in the pits, I mean, you've got a bad night right there.
That was one of the funnier things all night long. Tony Stewart comes in on, I can't remember what lap it was, and gets 4 fresh tires, a can of Sunoco fuel, and exercises his car. Gets the demons out of it. I think Jeff Burton was one of them that definitely had demons in his cars. Just something was going wrong all night long. He finishes 29th, and then Brad Keselowski. Again, Penske Racing has some sort of an issue with fuel pickup in that car. He has to spend some time in the pits and gets his car fixed up. So Biffle wins the race. Great little race great little battle there for a little while as Biffle was catching Johnson. So that was pretty interesting to see somebody. The move that he put on Johnson was pretty respectable.
Oh, absolutely. And, last night about halfway through the middle of the race when that battle was really heating up, that was really, really exciting right there. But Biffle had so much power, so much pin-up speed. I mean, like you said, after 40-some races since his last win. And they were mentioning last night that he's a little irritated that he's not getting a lot of the press, a lot of the media that Johnson, Stewart, Danica, all these other drivers are getting. And I think last night he was really trying to make a statement, and that shined through. I mean, the reason why Johnson got collected into the fence is because he was just pushing so hard to catch Biffle. But Biffle, man, that was a rocket on rails around that track. That was a great car, great driving.
And it was really good to see him back into the victory lane. It's been so long, and he's such a calm and collected guy. When we heard him come over the radio, I believe it was at I want to say it was either Charlotte or Texas last year during this summer when he was overheating in his car and he's screaming on the radio. That was so uncharacteristic of him, and I think that kind of showed some of the frustration that he was seeing because of them not winning. He was on that cold streak and not being in the chase, but it was just so nice to finally see the guy smile and have something good. Even though he's been the points leader for a couple of weeks, a win goes a long ways towards building your confidence to the next week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with not making the chase last year and all of a sudden you're leading the points here by, 19 points over the two nearest competitors in the standings. I mean, your confidence is built up. I mean, it's just huge. He's having fun. The Biff that I seen last night, you were talking about the personality in the car last year when they were overheating. Last night he wins the race and he's like, yeah, we run Texas.
That was about the worst post-race interview for a driver, I think, for a winner.
I'm thinking of Ricky Bobby. I mean, the scene where he's like, "What do I do with my hands?"
So your top 10, Biffle wins, Johnson second. Mark Martin brings in a third-place finish.
Way to go, Mark.
That guy in the 55 is on fire. I want to see him race a full season. I want him to win a championship. 52
years old, the last driver to win something at 52 years old. And it's right on the tip of my tongue. It's right. I can't think of it now.
We'll move on. Let me know if you think about it. Gordon finishes 4th, and Kenseth rounds out the top 5. Truex Jr., Kane, Edwards, Harvick, and Earnhardt Jr. finishes out the top 10. Good to see Earnhardt back in again, another top 10 finish. The guy's on fire this year.
Yeah, it's almost like Harvick. Where'd you come from, Earnhardt? Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden, he's not really been much of a player in the last few years, but now all of a sudden he's a contender. Martin Truex, hell of a run last night. Great run.
Great, great. All right, your trivia question for today, head over to our Facebook page, post the answer on our wall, and you will win yourself a 3-pack to Joe's Karting. When was the last time Greg Biffle won? And I want to know the name of the track, and I want to know what year. Don't have to give me the exact date. I want to know year and name of the track. When was the last time Greg Biffle won? Head over to our Facebook page and check it out. The front stretch presented by Joe's Karting. Make sure to do that, and you'll win yourself a 3-pack to Joe's Karting. Turn 2 is just around the corner. It's the front stretch presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.